All right, all right, all right. It's bacon time, but with yours truly, the man with 1,004 hot takes, as we wait for Aaron to join us tonight. Good evening, everyone. We're joined by TJ and Brad this week, and we are going to take this one off the rails early, folks. Let's get into it.
We don't have Papa Aaron, so this is about to be the best show in the world, boy.
We're going nuts. What should we talk about first? What's the best combination of two caffeine drinks at the same time?
I'm going to say right now is exactly what is on your back wall, sir, and what is on your shirt. I will, and Brad, you kind of missed this. He and I talked about this before the show started. This whole situation with Northwestern, yes, we understand the allegation, everything that was said and done. Who knows what truly happened? Because it's their word versus somebody else's word. But the way that, Marco and I both looked at it, we all grew up in the age of hazing was normal. When you're in high school, the freshmen always had to earn their spot or earn their way onto a team in general. So now it's gotten to the point where, I feel like you can't even say something without somebody throwing, a book at you saying, I'm coming after you, or, just feelings got into it. So I think with this whole situation with Northwestern, I think it's one of those things where if the evidence truly shows, maybe other people's minds will change, but I honestly feel like, this is kind of a he said, she said type of deal.
So I think it's a total hit piece. I think the initial whistleblower was somebody that was already in and out of the transfer portal. When you have a situation, and look, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, right? I hate the Blackhawks for what they did, but what they did is they covered up a crime, right? Kids screwballing around in the locker room and joking around with each other. Okay, yeah, you had to touch somebody's, bare butt or whatever. Is that sexual assault? No, it's kids being goofy. It's men being dumb. Is it going to make somebody uncomfortable? You kind of know going into it, right? And you got to be able to stand up for yourself as a man. Now you're 18 years old. You're in college. You should be able to put up with some stuff. And if the investigation showed, in my defense of Coach Fitz, that he didn't know, fine. Then who did know? And you didn't suspend anybody else. You're not throwing anybody else under the bus. As a matter of fact, you're keeping them on staff, and they're going to run the program for you. The AD has been completely absent. His silence is deafening. All this is coming down from the president, who's being pushed by the court of public opinion. And you have to look at the scenario where things in life are not all the same. This isn't a corporate meeting in the conference room, where people are doing these things. This is the football field. This is the gridiron. This is they have these names because it's not you going to HR. It's not going to work together in a classroom. It's not, doing it. It is something different, and it builds different people. And you need to have a different type of person to do those things that they're going to do on the next level, right? Take what Coach Prime said about the type of people that he recruits, right? For offensive line, he likes people that come from two-family homes. They have that protection gene. But on the defensive end, a linebacker, he wants somebody that wants to go out there and be a borderline murderer. You want to be able to take somebody's head off. You want to not be timid like that. When you get these groups of people in a large group like that, and you get these kids that are going to be aggressive and they need to let their aggression out, and yeah, maybe there's, they're going to bully a little bit. They're bullying to build that repertoire, to build that camaraderie, to toughen each other up as a unit, as a whole. And I think after reviewing the information, and if I had to take a stand, and I did yesterday, I called ESPN 1000. I said, look, if you're going to do this, you have to treat it like a volcano, right? It's not a tidal wave where one thing happened and you can wash it away by firing Fritz and everything's going to be fine. You got to go either hit rock bottom and blow it all up, or you're doing it wrong. So I think they're doing it wrong. I think they're under pressure. $40 million off the hook if they don't have to pay them. The huge $1 billion renovation and new stadium now hangs in the balance. They have a lot of issues with money that they need to deal with to do this the right way. Look, tons.
Let's get this right. I mean, Northwestern's not Notre Dame. They don't have endless bankrolls.
But they have pretty good bankroll. I mean,
they do.
Before,
they do.
Not...
Yeah, and there's a lot of notable Northwestern alum. But again, going back to, I think this is kind of a double-edged sword situation. It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I think as societally, we've gotten like way too hyper on the far side of, well, if there's anything that went wrong, it's got to be your entire ass, not just a piece of your ass, not just like a chunk of your ass. It's got to be the whole ass. It's got to go. And I think that's kind of unfair because every single person that's walking this planet cannot be in a situation where they've never made a mistake, never made some sort of situation bad. Now, I do disagree with you a little bit, Marco, to where like I understand that there's bonding and things that need to go on between teammates. I did coach high school, I coached high school football for a little bit, not for very long, but I did continue coaching another sport in bowling. And you got to have camaraderie. The dudes have got to buy into each other. It can't be just buying into just you as a coach. They have to buy into the commitment that they have to each other. And if that's the way that they go about making that bond, I'm not sure that's the right way. I think that there are definitely other ways in order to make that happen, to still be positive and to still do good things in order to, again, I don't want to say this to be all inclusive, but in a way, it's like there are dudes that like, I'm not sure if I was in a hyper competitive situation trying to earn my spot in order to make sure that I can either A, finish my college degree, or B, move on to the NFL. I don't want other dudes playing slap ass with me while I'm trying to work. It's so I see the negative aspect of it, but the other side is kind of like, again, I think we're just we can't wait. We don't have the patience in order to see it through, to actually get all factual information out in order to make sure, is this the right decision or not?
But they didn't, and they didn't. They thought they had information, right? And the president made his suspension call, and they didn't like it. So then the reporters were like, "Well, now we're going to release more information, and we're going to make it go public." And that's a little bit of dirty pool, right? Either you have it and you want to come out with it, and we want to see what happens, but now you start to release a little bit here and release a little bit there, and then the support of past teammates, present teammates, and looking at other things that they've done. Did you see the letter that the kid in engineering, he was a manager for the team, wrote, and he posted it on social media about how he got injured and the types of the great lengths that Coach Fitz went to make sure everything was okay with him, and some of the other things like outside of the field and the locker room that shows the true character of a person and of Coach Fitz and the team. And it kind of lends itself to say, yeah, okay, here's something that happens in the shadows in the locker room. That's why it's called locker room talk. That's where that stuff happens, versus firing the guy and putting other people in the balance, putting those new recruits' decisions in their lives and their decisions to go to Northwestern on the line, off of this. And I just feel like, if I'm going to pick a side, I'm saying that the way the president of the university is going about it is wrong, and they're hanging them out to dry. And that's just my opinion. PJ, top 5 favorite hazing activities.
Jesus, dude, I told you about this already, man. No, honestly, so it's funny too, because like I was saying earlier, Marco, I don't know if you played football like in high school or whatnot,
Yep.
But I know when I was playing varsity football, the one thing was the freshmen always got tied up to a goalpost, and it wasn't even like they were hanging them like up high. No, it was like the bottom of the goalpost. They would put like 3 or 4, and they duct tape you down there for the whole practice, or like for half a practice, and they would squirt you with like a water gun.
Yeah.
That's, dude, I would take that any day.
We had to do push-ups. We had to do push-ups in full uniform. We weren't naked, but in full uniform, we're doing push-ups and singing Jingle Bells, and the water's spraying us, and they're letting people come down. Everybody's coming down to the locker room, laughing at us. The whole student body that was still in the building would come down and laugh at the freshmen that are getting.
But I also think that those are different. Those are things to where, like, when you start to getting into like, I don't know, forcing people to get nude, I think that's, again, I think that's where you've kind of crossed the line. And I understand
that is understandable because
it crosses the line of comfort, but I think it builds it. I don't know. It takes the. Is that
truly the outcome of every, like, that may be your intention, but is that really what's, like, can you say that method has a high success rate?
No, and I guess in this day and age, it has more of a, I don't know, I guess we're just a little bit softer, you know what I mean? And I don't want to go off on a tangent and take it somewhere else. I'll save it for my own show to talk about the types of things that, the masculinity, the toxic masculinity. Okay, sure, there's toxic masculinity, but is it, do we need to eliminate it, or do we need to know how to deal with it? And to that end, do we need to fire Coach Fitz and put the program, on life support? Or could he have owned up to it and apologized and understood what was wrong? And
because clearly, if he knew, if or other staff members knew, then they do have to be terminated. That's you can't be having that going on in your program. That's I think that's a very simple common denominator. I think everybody can agree with that. If it was in fact known, dude shouldn't have a job.
Right. And according to the reports, he didn't know, but he should have known, or he could have known.
Correct.
Which is like,
so he's actually retained, according to this, he's retained legal counsel. He's basically put himself in a position of basically, we're going to be, we'll see you in court. And
he had a agreement when he got suspended.
Correct.
He understood, and they talked about it, and all right, this is the way it's going to be. And then the court of public opinion came out, and that was
okay. So I don't know, because I mean, that 2-week suspension actually was after the fact, like this news had broken. So I'm not so sure. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, there's got to be something that would cause that kind of reaction besides the court of.
It's the details. The details came out. So before, we had the report and the investigation, and it was fine. But then the details come out. It's like when the video comes out. Okay, you have a domestic violence case. Oh, you punched your girlfriend. Okay, we're going to suspend you for 4 days in violation of a domestic policy. Oh, there's a video of it. Wow, that video looks really bad. Now you're cut from the team and you're suspended for a year. That's the NFL's way of doing things, right? If it's just hearsay and on paper, okay, we have rules, we're going to follow them. But when you see it, it's like, oh, well, we really need to take a stronger stance on those things. But.
Yeah, man, it's tough because, I try to think of, like, you're a father with a son who has a promising collegiate opportunity ahead of him. That, could you imagine if your son was in the same position where he was forced to do things like that he may not be comfortable doing? And again, I know you probably teach him how to defend himself and how to stand up for himself and all that stuff. But to think about, like, if that should be something that's common or that you should be expecting out of your teammates, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. Well, TJ knows O-line don't get hazed as much as wide receivers do, right? All right, guys. So while we were gone, the MLB has played the Midsummer Classic, in a. I was watching it. I actually watched it more than I thought I was going to. I thought I was just going to be in the background, but I took some time and I took it in to a thrilling 3-2. Finally, the National League gets off the schneid and beats the AL.
In how many years?
I think it was a 9-game losing streak.
Yeah.
2012.
So TJ, how'd you like the All-Star game?
You know, I'll be honest. This is going to sound very, very funny. I actually enjoyed the home run derby a little bit more for two reasons. One, I just love watching people hit home runs. I mean, there's just something about a grown man hitting the shit out of a baseball. and you're like, man, I could so do that. I'm going to grab myself a baseball bat, and you hit it like 100 feet, and you're like, what the hell?
Dude, that was me when I hit those 2 home runs in wiffle ball on 4th of July. Thank you so much. I've been lifting.
You didn't sign that contract yet.
So I don't like the new format though. Like the pitchers are coming. I liked being able to appreciate the home run, but they're right back at it again, and like the ball hasn't even landed yet, and they're hitting the next one.
Well, see, and the thing, so it was some. I don't know if I put it in the chat or not. I know I put it in my buddy and I's chat. Some guy went on TikTok and was ranting about the home run derby, how he hates how there's 3 minutes to do this. He would rather do the 10-out rule.
Yeah,
and you get as many home runs in 10 outs.
Yeah, crack-a-lack.
Dude, that's how I loved watching that. Loved watching it. Plus, they got to take them kids out. You saw that kid got that shiner on his eye?
Oh, it's great. He's got a wonderful story to tell forever. I wanted to be one of those kids. If it comes to Chicago in 25, I hope I can send my kids out there.
Yeah. You see where it's going next year?
Down in Texas, yeah.
It's going to Arlington, and I am going to go to that.
Good.
So
maybe we'll do a remote show down there.
Hey, I am so fine with that one.
So the start of the game was cool. The first inning, there was some exciting, leaping grabs in the outfield, and then it turned into a pitcher's duel until like the 8th inning, which you're going to get when you have all-star pitching and you're not able to work counts and work on things like that. Do you think that the format or things in regards to player usage should change? Like, remember back in the day, you used to have like 3-inning minimums for the all-stars, and the starters at least would always play 3 innings. Do you want to do that, or do you like being able to shuffle through as many guys as possible, maybe even get a deeper roster for all-stars?
It's tough, man, because
this is a tough one.
Yeah, I'm torn between nostalgia and realism. And nostalgia tells me that I like the old school. Like, I'd love to see Greg Maddux go 2 2/3 or 3. But at the same time, I also understand that 30 years into the future of professional sports is a lot different, and your body's your business. That is what you're using to earn a living, and the increase or the potential to injure yourself or something negative to happen increases the more you play. So I think that, especially being an exhibition game for that case, in all honesty, because now home field is not determined by the All-Star winner. It's just by whoever's got the best record overall.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, it's being a true exhibition now. It's like, I'm actually kind of in favor to get a few more people in, and maybe even to get a couple young hot players that are in there, like Ellie De La Cruz, and see what he can do for an inning or two, and see you later. Let's see somebody else.
Well, see, and so my thing is this: like, everybody thinks of an all-star game. When they think of all-star, they think of like, oh, you need one person per team to be on this roster. I honestly, I would love to see that, to see, who would make it from the whole, from the AL and the NL.
To say like in the whole league that there's not one player that's all-star caliber on every single squad. That's I mean, there's got to be at least one.
Yeah.
And, like when you saw the starting lineups, the AL had majority Texas Ranger guys. So that's like, okay, so what's that saying? Yes, we know Texas Rangers have the best record in the AL.
Yeah, they got some players playing the best ball right now. They deserve to be the All-Stars. I mean,
and the NL had the Braves. The Braves have the best record, and they got the best players. So put your
Exactly. When everybody was like, I saw a couple of tweets. I think I got into it like the bottom of the third. I watched a little bit, maybe like the top of the sixth. But I saw a tweet and it said, "Is this going to be the World Series match right here, the Braves versus the Rangers?" And I'm
yes,
like, it damn well can be, because
yes,
if they continue, it'll be amazing.
yeah. One of the things that I was thinking about when I was, kind of watching some of the events, the futures game and stuff like that, is if we're not going to get the players to play, but you want to see, like in the NFL for the Pro Bowl, they're running plays and you're going to see, one-on-one matchups. In basketball, they don't play defense, but you see the skill players, scoring points. Same thing with the way the NHL does their skills challenge, and they're doing crazy things. They need to incorporate that in baseball. Maybe they have a game where you put a cone for the shortstop and you have a coach hit them grounders, and the further away they are to field it, you get points and they can compete that way. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see guys do, the spectacular things outside of the corner outfielders making dives, catching those balls. We really didn't see anybody really put in there, kick it into gear, even fourth gear to get something done and to do something. I'd like to see, something like that. Like how many backhand picks and throws to third can you do? You get 10 shots and they're doing that. Kind of like you do an infield practice, but glorified and more competitive. I think that'd be kind of cool.
No, I will say something, and I don't know if I've said this on here. I'll say it. I probably have. I am like a massive gear whore when it comes to sports. Like, the newest football gear comes out, I'm going to read about it and everything, not only because I'm a coach, but it's just fun to see the new technology and everything. But the one thing that I truly, truly loved, and this is like, God, like in the 90s, I watched like old school, like All-Star games, is they didn't have these crappy uniforms where it had like the city that they're representing. Wear your team jersey. Like,
Yeah,
that's, I want to see, like, screw these jerseys. Yeah, you've got like
ugly. They were hideous.
dude, the past few years they have been terrible. Terrible.
They should be able to wear their own hats and put an all-star logo on the side. They
Yep.
should be wearing the road team wears their road uniforms, put a logo on it, and the home team wears their home colors, put a logo on it. We know you're an all-star, but these like this ugly, and I love Seattle. I love the Seattle color scheme, but those uniforms did not do them justice. And that intro, I don't understand what that intro was all about with the smoke and running out like that. I don't know. I didn't like that at all.
Well, I also think that like when it comes to those jersey designs, I think it's less about like because when I thought about the design itself, I really kind of like the font and then the Mariners logo actually being inside of MLB as part of the A in either American or National. Um, but like when you're just seeing like just a uniform, single colored, monotone jersey, I mean, I'm sorry, you got to come out with something a little more flashy than that. I mean, if it's an all-star game, man, you got to really start putting some creativity into some of the designs and
Like,
and
I'll tell you
art
right now,
that's going into the looks or the aesthetics of the game.
what
Yeah,
they
and
should
there's
do.
nothing on there that I mean, I get it. They're on the National League team. I'm looking at a Ronald Acuna jersey, and they just have the little A for the Braves on one sleeve, the All-Star Game patch on the other. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't, and it's not for nothing. You're going to sell that jersey for $195. Guess what? Braves fans and baseball fans would buy that same jersey if it was an Atlanta Braves jersey that had that said national team all-star on it or something else, and it didn't look like its own standalone jersey like this.
See, and like the thing for me too is, this year for MLB, they're doing a thing for guys who it's their very first game. Like, everything it says, it says like rookie or something like that, like on the jersey, or first game. It's
First
like a
time
first,
all-star.
no, it's like a first game patch,
Okay.
like regular season. They should do that for the All-Star. Like, during the season, like when the voting goes, the voting ends. I think it's like 2 weeks before the All-Star break.
Yep.
So what the players need, like what the MLB needs to do, is come out with those patches, so you can see, like, if you go to a game, you can see who was voted on, for the first team, and you see that patch on their jersey, and it says, "Hey, this guy made the All-Star," and you see why he made the All-Star. Where, unless it's I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. The MLB debut patch.
Yes, debut patch.
Okay.
Thank you. And
Cool.
I like that because so I'm going to use the Orioles because they're the only closest team, but they've been bringing up guys left and right from their farm system, and the jerseys that they wear, they get to keep them, but they make multiples.
Yeah. Yeah.
My buddy actually went to the Orioles team store. It's a MLB Game Used store. It's sitting like right at the end of Utah Street. He walked in and they actually were selling those jerseys with a debut patch on it. He bought one. It was like $400, so
Oof.
not his soul. But he bought that and he put it on his wall, and it had the debut patch, and it was Gunnar Henderson. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Like
That
I
is
want to
cool.
see that more often, but put like an all-star patch there so we can see who got voted in.
You know what's cool? I do like the way MLB does Rawlings does the Gold Glove, and only Gold Glove players have that Gold Glove patch when they win a Gold Glove. That's pretty cool. So I like it. If they could incorporate that instead of making ugly jerseys, absolutely, I'm all for it.
Yes.
All right, guys. So the big topic, staying true to our schedule for what we talk about, we will be breaking down the AFC North, or as I call it, the NFL's Big Ten division. Again, being an AFC guy myself, I play in the West where we score and win games in the double digits. I'll let
Like
TJ.
Big 12.
You could take the poll on our first breakdown of the AFC North. What do you think of that division, and who do you got coming out of your neighborhood there?
So, of course, being Maryland's Ravens are AFC North. And it's funny, they actually had a breakdown today on one of the radio stations I was listening to, and this guy actually said something very interesting to me that it kind of caught me by surprise. I never realized TJ Watt's been injured so much.
Yeah,
I don't pay attention because I always paid attention to his brother. His brother was better.
yeah. Well, yeah, but he's younger and healthy now, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is my thought. So I'm gonna go from number one to dead last. So number one, I still think Cincinnati's gonna run the table this year. I mean that they've got a good squad. That chemistry there with Joe Burrows, Jamar Chase. That whole team. They're I don't want to say solid. They're fairly solid. That offensive line just needs to learn how to block. It's a big thing because that's been their weakest point is offensive line. It seems like they always go out at a trade deadline to pick up offensive linemen. They'll throw them in there. They do pretty well, and then they come in the next year and still have the same problem. I feel like this season, maybe the season where they find something that'll help them. So I think that Cincinnati definitely. I think they're going to run the tables. I have them going. Hold on, I have it right here. I have them going 13-4. I think that they're going to run the tables. I think they're going to go undefeated in the NFC North or AFC North, and I think that they're going to lose in the divisional round. That's my thing.
All right.
Number two, I have the Browns. Yes, shocker, right? And you guys, yeah, this is going to be.
You're always good for one of those per show, TJ.
This is the league this is a division that I was waiting for too. I honestly feel like the Browns. I think this may be the second to last season for Myles Garrett. I mean, honestly, he's getting up there in age. He's a hell of a player. I mean, I loved watching him play in college, and now watching him for the Browns, I feel like his talent is kind of wasted a little bit. He's such a great player. I have them going 10-4, going second in the division, and honestly, I feel like maybe they've got something that we're not looking at.
One of the things the Browns have that I am looking at is they are showing 4 preseason games. Are they playing in the Hall of Fame game?
I believe so.
Okay.
Now my number 3 It's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Your Ravens neighbors are going to set your garage on fire.
Go ahead, do it. I got a Louisville Slugger waiting to get some break-in time. I think the Steelers, if TJ Watt is healthy, and like I said, I never realized he was so injured because I don't follow AFC North. I should, but I definitely don't. I think, the Steelers, they'll be there. I don't think they're going to do too much in the AFC North. I got them as well going 10-4. And then
10 wins for the Browns? Yeah. Okay.
And now, dead last, I have the Ravens. And there's a reason why. I feel like Lamar is going to be too involved with his money and that he is not going to – he's got his money, but is he going to be worth it? It's just like the Ravens when they had Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, right after he got his extension, threw the most interceptions in an NFL season for himself. Will Lamar do the same thing because they cannot get a healthy O-line? Yes, they picked up OBJ. Yes, they have Zay Flowers. But Rashad Bateman, always injured. They don't have a solidified third receiver to be out there with him. So what's that going to do? It's going to put Lamar in the pocket to scramble. They don't have a solid running back. J.K. Dobbins is always hurt. So it seems like they're always throwing the card out there for a new running back. Defensively, I think the defense is what's going to win them some of these games. And I have them, honestly, only getting 8 wins this season.
All right. I like it. Aaron's here.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Aaron. What's going on?
Hey. I'm excited that I'm going to be on Hard Knocks this year. Oh, wait. No, that's the other Aaron. Yeah.
So we're breaking down the AFC North.
Right.
And we already shocked to see the Browns in double-digit wins for TJ's betting book.
All right.
How do you see the AFC? How do you see the AFC's North breaking down?
Well, I'm gonna, I just caught the end of with TJ. I could see his point with Lamar. I mean, I don't see it happening, but I mean, he wouldn't be the first player to get major bucks and then kind of not take a dive, but have subpar performances. So I think didn't that kind of happen to Zeke? When he got his big contract with the Cowboys. I mean, all of a sudden it was just like he got hurt and then he was never really the same. So I'm until somebody can knock Cincinnati off there, I'm picking Cincinnati in first. But I do think Baltimore is going to bounce back. I think Lamar is going to come and show that I think he's got a chip on his shoulder that it took him so long to get that contract. And, we'll either see if he's, like another Aaron Rodgers who plays better when he seems to have something to prove or whatever, or if he's I don't see him throw for 6,000 yards. Let's just put it that way. But, I think he's going to have a better year than a lot of people are expecting. I think they'll come in second. And then you got the Browns and Pittsburgh. I saw the chat today in our private group chat with, I agree with what Ben had said, which is basically that, he had, I think, kind of misspoke and said something about that they've had a few losing seasons and, was corrected that, they haven't technically had losing seasons with under Tomlin.
Never finished under at lower than 500,
which is crazy to me. But at the same time, I also agree with what Ben said after Troy kind of called him out, which is, maybe you didn't have under 500, but Pittsburgh fans expect them to make the playoffs, and when they don't, I think it's going to be another year where they're going to be disappointed and not see the playoffs. I'm not sure though if it's going to be Cleveland that's going to be worse or Pittsburgh. I guess I would pick Pittsburgh in third and Cleveland in fourth, just because there is something Tomlin has as a head coach that, and I do like him. I think that he seems to have this ability to overachieve, especially when, everybody, I think last year, most people picked them to have like 4 or 5 wins, they end up, I think 9-8 or whatever it was that they were. So, I still think, I don't think they're going to end up in last. I think that's going to be Cleveland and again, that's of course this could all change by the time our week one, NFL preview show comes out.
Brad,
Yeah, man. I still think that the Bengals will be the class of the division, especially when I look at they definitely invested heavily on defense, which is, I mean, again, clearly their offense is not the problem. And again, I wouldn't even say their defense is the problem. To be quite honest, they're a very good team. They've been to the AFC title game or the Super Bowl 2 of the past 3 years. So,
Yep.
Ultimately, again, I think that they are going to be there as long as Burrow's there, and they've got him. They've got him locked up now or have they worked a contract with him yet?
I don't think he got paid yet, but they're working on
Okay,
that.
yeah. So, I mean, he will immediately get paid, which is great because he's a great player.
Well, it'll be interesting to see too. Not just to touch on that real quick, if because I'm sure his agents weren't real happy with him. What was it, about a month ago, where he came out and kind of made the comment about maybe taking less so that they can keep some of their receivers around.
Do the Tom Brady movie. He could be the next Tom Brady.
Well, exactly. I think it's a smart move, but I'm sure his agents were probably like, "No, shut up," But anyway.
So I like just kind of going through the schedule. I took the Bengals going 12-5 and winning the division. In second, I got to take the Ravens. I mean, to think that the Ravens were 10-7 last year minus Lamar, and so I mean, I think that for the games that he missed, is he an additional 2 to 3 wins? Yeah, I think he's an additional 2 to 3 wins. So I'm going to put the Ravens at 11-6. I'm going to have them finish a game back. I think the Steelers are even though I think Cleveland is going to finish worst in the division, I just don't think the AFC North is clearly not the worst division in the league. There are many, many more teams that are, I think, going to be even worse than Cleveland. So
The NFC South sucks,
dude. Yes, that 100%. That's going to be the freaking stink pile that we get to review one week. Is like, oh my god, who's going to win that division?
Yeah. I don't think the NFC North is much,
but at the same time, I think that the Steelers, they're going to benefit from finishing third in the division, having a slightly softer schedule. They're definitely, you see teams like the Raiders and the Texans and Titans, Cardinals, Colts, Patriots, that you can definitely see them getting wins from. But then you look around the rest where they got to go through the division. I don't see the Steelers beating the Bengals, nor maybe the Ravens. Maybe they split with the Ravens. However,
they did last year. They beat they surprised some teams last year.
They did. However, I think the big thing about Pittsburgh though is not to worry about it this year, but the year after, because I loved Pittsburgh's draft. They got offensive tackle Broderick Jones out of Georgia. They got the Bears, basically the number 1 overall pick in the second round, and used that to get Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State. Bears could have been in that spot. Bears could definitely use another corner. They also got Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin as a D tackle. I mean, they got like 3 very premium players in that draft. So I think that watch out for Pittsburgh. That if they can get going, I think they could be nasty in the next year or two. But again, they got to get the quarterback situations figured out.
Yeah. That's why I got the Steelers coming in second in that division, because they got some games on paper where you're like, Cardinals, Steelers, Packers, Steelers. Sorry, Aaron, Steelers.
I agree. Right now, I do agree.
The Rams, the Titans, the Texans, the Raiders. In September, the Raiders play well in September.
And you play the 49ers week 1. That's a great week to play the 49ers.
That's an awesome time to play the 49ers. That's going to be a terrible game. It's going to be 12-9. Terrible quarterback play. Probably in a September rainstorm in Pittsburgh. They are going to benefit from their schedule. They got to play the Colts in December indoors. That's going to be I see the end of the season from like Christmas Eve, the 23rd, December 23rd games. There's 3 weeks left after that. And everybody has 2 division games, it seems like, within that, where that game where the Bengals and Steelers meet in Pittsburgh on the 23rd, that might be for the division. And yeah, I think the Steelers are going to benefit from their schedule. The Browns, I have no faith in the Browns of doing anything. And then, yeah, I think the Bengals are going to run away with it, just as per usual. Now, my comment for the Ravens, though, my disdain for Lamar goes back to his days at Louisville. I actually think it's going to be the other way around. I think he's going to try too hard because of the money. He's going to try to put the cape on, and he's going to try to do too much. And what we've seen is he can't finish the season when that happens, and he's going to get hurt. He's not going to throw for 6,000 yards, but he might run for 2,000 because he's just going to think he's got to do it all, and that's going to end up biting him in the tail in the end. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he finishes. I think he's going to try so hard because he took so much heat for not being ready for the playoffs, for abandoning his team, for not being there. Yeah. And now they backed him up and they said, "Look, we're going to give you the money. Now you got to be there for us." And he's going to do too much, and it's going to hurt him. That's just
I could see that too. Yeah.
So, yeah. Briefly, Aaron, we started the show talking about the Northwestern situation. Did you have any comments or anything you wanted to add to your opinion on the matter?
Yeah, I was listening a little bit to the Cover 3 podcast that I think CBS Sports does every day for college football. They were talking a little bit about it, and because I admit I didn't know a ton about what exactly happened. I know there's hazing allegations that apparently they've been confirmed that they happened, but the report out of Northwestern is that Coach Fitzgerald, actually they haven't found any evidence that he knew anything about it. Unfortunately, I think he's a victim of the fact that he's a head coach and everybody assumes that you're supposed to know every single thing that goes on. And I thought it was Bush League that, and again, I'm a Badger fan. I really don't care about Northwestern. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I have no real opinion of Fitzgerald, except for the fact that he was there for almost 20 years and never had any allegations, never had anything come out about any kind of impropriety, any kind of, this isn't, what's his face from, and I'm drawing a blank now, from Ohio. He was with Ohio State and then went to the Jaguars.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer, thank you. Yeah, this isn't like Urban Meyer where there's one thing after another, but hey, he wins championships, so we're all okay. I thought it was crap that they originally decided to, okay, we're going to do 2 weeks and then maybe reevaluate the situation, whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, so much stuff apparently came out in that 24-hour period that now you got to fire him. And I will say this, and I'm going to try to say this in the nicest way possible because I do think this is a serious issue. I have no tolerance for racism. At the same time, I really get tired of when the whole this guy's racist thing gets thrown out. Okay, unless you have evidence like they had with that old, was it Donald Sterling or wherever for the old Clippers coach,
Ronald Sterling.
Thank you. So unless you've got evidence to me where you've got this guy on tape and he's dropping N-bombs or saying other things about, black people or other minorities that are clearly, disrespectful, clearly racist, I really hate when that phrase is thrown out there. And apparently one of the players that came out and said that, said he was racist has been very open about wanting to take down Coach Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, is that where we've become? And I know the answer to my question already is yes, that is where we become in our society, where everything is. You've got to completely bury someone before you can, bring them back from the dead.
It's just not a piece of your ass, not a chunk of your ass. Like they want your whole ass.
It's sad. It's sad. I hope he sues him. I hope he gets a ton of money, or at least a bunch of. And again, I have no skin in this game, but I just think that, there might be a little something here, and maybe, a couple months from now, it'll come out and there'll be obvious evidence that yes, he needs to go. But right now, I just, unless Northwestern is sitting on a whole pile of shit that we don't know about with this guy, I just think they ended up screwing themselves because I think they're going to end up paying quite a bit to this guy.
I think the thing too, like, Marco said, and you said it as well. This is the first time I've ever heard anything negative about Coach Fitzgerald.
Yep.
And, being in a Big Ten country, Maryland Terps are 45 minutes down the road. I've seen Northwestern play. I mean, those tickets were like $10 to go watch Northwestern play. I wanted to see I wanted to see Big Ten football.
Sure.
Bad game to see it because I went to go see Ohio State play Maryland this year, and Ohio State just bent them over even more. But, at the end of the Northwestern game, Coach Fitzgerald was outside. He was talking to the kids. He was talking to the parents of the players. He even, as they're walking back to the bus, he walked up to Maryland Terrapins families and coaches, shook their hands and said, "Hey, this was a phenomenal stadium. You guys had a great atmosphere. I loved it." I was with my buddy. He went to UMD. He played lacrosse there, and we had a tent right next to the Northwestern buses. And, we offered some of the guys food. Coach Fitzgerald came over. We offered him food. We offered him, alcohol, whatever we had at the tents. We said, "Hey, you guys want some, before you leave, be my guest." And he looked at us. He said, "Well, we can't take the alcohol, but, whatever food you guys have, more than welcome to take it." He was such a cool guy. And, it's just what people don't see, they're going to throw shade at everything. And I feel like this is that one thing where they're like, oh, it, just a small little sliver of, hey, this is what happened. There's hazing, this, that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody just blows it up. It's like they put a freaking TNT in there. They hit the stick. It blows up. And they're just like, all right, he needs to be gone.
Well, again, and I think a lot of, again, the procedural consequences of this in our society kind of go into basically a hot take society of what's next, what's coming down the pipeline. That as long as you've got enough of a spine, like if you're, let's say you were in that situation and you were Coach Fitz, that it stinks that you just don't have the people around you that are just willing to kind of weather that for a little bit in order to make sure it's actually right.
Yeah. Well, and he's in one of the worst possible places probably to do that in Chicago and, the state of Illinois and everything. But, and I got a kick out of it when I was listening to that podcast and they were talking about, and they pretty much said the same thing I just said. It was like, they didn't want to judge it or judge the school, but they're like, there's got to be something more there that we don't know. And they mentioned apparently there was 10 or 11 players that have come out and spoken out against Coach Fitzgerald, but apparently the school didn't care about the hundreds of other players that he's coached over the years who had nothing but good things to say, and or the fact that the team apparently signed a petition giving that they sent to the school asking that they keep him, or whatever. So I just, it's really sad that we live in a society at this point where a few people can say something and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we gotta let this guy go. He's done. Where he's a cancer to our organization. No, you're the cancer because your organization, your university has sucked for how many years? Yeah. I mean, you had one good year and that was COVID, for crying out loud, where half the teams only played 5 or 6 freaking games. So, at Northwestern, you have a hell of a lot more problems than Pat Fitzgerald. So good luck.
Yeah. All right, guys. So the next big fun sporting event that we did not prepare for to talk about, I'm going to grill you guys on. It's Women's World Cup, the big three-peat, Team USA going back for the boot, the cup, the gold. Next week when we go, we'll have already started our group play. I know none of you know who's in what group and what's going on, so I'll help you out. But I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think only Portugal can kind of challenge the Team USA, and I am a little rusty on my my Women's World Cup, but we're going to go down the line and see who you got coming out of each group. So we'll start with you, Brad. Group A is New Zealand, Norway, the Philippines, and Switzerland. Give me 2 teams out of that group that are going to advance to the next round.
You said, go through it one more time.
New Zealand, Norway, Philippines, and Switzerland.
Jeez, I'll take New Zealand and Jesus, and Switzerland. I'll take the Swiss ladies.
The Swiss.
Yeah, the Dutch dancers. Let's go.
All right. Same question to you, TJ. We got New Zealand, Norway, Philippines, Switzerland.
I'm gonna go New Zealand as well. I'm gonna go Norway. New Zealand, Norway.
All right. Aaron?
Repeat them again one more time.
New Zealand, Norway, Philippines, and Switzerland.
Okay, 2 have to come out of there. All right.
2 come out of each group.
Okay, I will give you this. The longest shot odds for Women's World Cup to win this tournament is plus 100,000, and that's the Philippines.
Yes.
right next to Panama and Vietnam. They're tied, I think, aren't they? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 5 zeros. 5. Yep. So yeah, I'm cheating a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna say out of that, yeah. Repeat those 3, 4 again. One more time.
New Zealand, Swiss, Norway, and the Philippines.
I'm gonna say Norway, and I'm gonna say Sweden.
Sweden. All right.
Yeah.
No, Switzerland. It's
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Okay. Sorry. New Zealand and we'll go with Switzerland.
All right. I'm going to take the long shots of Philippines because
But go put a buck on.
I'm Filipino. I have to. My countrywomen. I must support them. And and New Zealand. And we'll connect with the guys.
You should go put $1 on a sports book on the Philippines to make it into the knockout round.
All right. So Group B is Australia, Canada strong, Nigeria, and the Republic of Ireland. So the Irish, Nigeria, Canada, and Australia. TJ, who you got?
So I'm going to go Canada, even though they have smoked us all out too many times. I feel like if they somehow get out of that group, they're going to put more wildfires out. So we might as well just get ready for that. And then I'm going to go with my homeland of Ireland.
The Irish.
Nice.
All right. Brad?
I think I'll definitely I'll take a shoe in. I think it's going to be Australia. And then I'll take Canada on the back end.
All right. Aaron?
Okay, repeat. Okay, so we got Australia, Canada, Ireland, and who's the 4th one?
Nigeria.
You know what? Just to be different, I'm going to take Australia and Nigeria.
Nice.
We're gonna go. Yeah. I don't want to be the same as everybody.
And I will go with Canada and the Irish as well.
Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Good stuff.
I think it's the first time Marco and I have actually agreed upon something. I'm gonna get this a win.
Group C, the group of death. I have no idea if it's the group of death or not. Costa Rica, Japan, Spain, and Zambia. Not up to speed on the Costa Rican soccer scene, but Japan, Spain, and Zambia. What do you got there, TJ?
I'm gonna go Japan because I'm pretty sure the last time they played, they kind of made a little bit of a run, like a little bit of a little.
I think they were in the final, right?
Yeah, I mean they did pretty well. So I'm gonna go Japan, and I'm gonna go Spain because we all know that the Spanish love their soccer.
They do. Brad, what do you got?
It's FYI, it's plus 10,000 for the Philippines to make the knockout round. I'll put a buck on it. I mean, a buck wins me 100. So
True.
That's a bet that's being made. I'm going to go Japan because they are a defending World Cup champion, and also Spain, because Spain is dominant in all things soccer.
All right. Aaron?
I'll go with Spain, and why is it surprising to me that Costa Rica is actually the biggest underdog in this over Zambia?
Really?
That's just weird. Yeah, plus 50,000 to win it all, and Zambia is plus 25,000. I'll go with Spain and Japan too. I'll stay the
Japan?
same here in this one. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with Spain and Japan as well. So our hearts will be broken if these two don't make it out of the group stage. All right, Group D: China, Denmark, England, and Haiti. I'm surprised Haiti qualified. I'll be honest with you. They got to be a long shot too to get out of the group stage here.
I'm spending like $5 right now, putting these $1 bets on all.
Haiti and China are both 15 plus 15,000 to win it all. How do you feel if you're China and you're equal to Haiti in this one? I don't know. It's like, damn, that's the best we could do. Okay, let's see. Denmark and England are they're both way up there. Okay,
I got Denmark and England.
Denmark and England. I think it's going to be a clean sweep on this one here. Brad?
Agreed. Denmark and England.
Aaron?
Yeah, I'll go the same. Denmark and
All
England.
right, we're going to sweep this one also. Cool. All right, awesome. I'm just writing these down so we can talk to the boys next week about it as well. Group E, here we are with America. This might actually be the group of death because it's the Netherlands, Portugal, United States, and Vietnam. And I think Vietnam is a long shot, but Netherlands and Portugal, I think, are tough soccer, lady soccer squads. TJ, who you got coming out of the Group D or Group E?
I have got Portugal and the United States.
Portugal. Brad?
I got the Netherlands, United States.
All right. Aaron?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brad there and say U.S. and Netherlands.
Netherlands. I'm going to go with the USA and Portugal.
All right.
All right. I love it. Okay, we're going up to Group F. We're almost done, guys. We only go to L. No, Group F: Brazil, France, Jamaica, Panama. What do you got there, TJ?
Well, I'm going to feel the rhythm, feel the right, get on up. It's Jamaican time.
All right.
And then I'm going to take Brazil.
Brazil. Brad?
Yeah, I'll definitely go Brazil. And let's see. I'll go France with that.
France.
With the France.
They're going to take time away from the riots to play in the World Cup.
The French women.
Aaron, what do you got for us?
I'll go with France, and I'll stick with it. I'll go with Brazil also.
Brazil. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to go off the reservation on this one, and I'm going to go Jamaica and Panama, just to be different.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Jamaica.
Your teams combined are a plus 150,000 to win it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Let's go long shots. Group G, next to last group, Argentina, Italy, South Africa, Sweden. Argentina and Italy, I think, are probably good favorites to come out of this, but don't sleep on the Swedes. TJ, what do you got?
I'm going to say Italy because I love pizza, and Sweden because I love the IKEA Swedish meatballs.
Brad?
Oh, let's see. I think I'm going to go Sweden and Italy.
Sweden and Italy. All right. Aaron?
I'm going to go with Sweden, and I'm going to go with hold on 1 second here. Let me see. With Argentina.
Good call. All right, Argentina. I also will take Argentina and South Africa.
Okay, nice.
I'm a big Elon guy.
Oh yeah.
All right. In our last group, we have Colombia, Germany, South Korea, and Morocco. Colombia, Germany, South Korea, Morocco. South Korea, I think, is a tough team. Colombia might have the better looking fan base. TJ, what are you going with here?
I'm going to go with Germany and Morocco.
Nice. Brad?
I'll go with Germany and a little bit of Colombian.
Colombia. All right, Aaron?
I'm gonna go with Germany and South Korea.
Yes. All right. Did North Korea not qualify?
Apparently
Negative.
not. No.
And I'm going to go Germany and Colombia. Yes. All right. Cool. Next week we'll get Ben and Troy's picks for their World Cup, and then maybe we'll figure something out on how we keep track of that. And I don't know where's this even played at this year, guys.
I was just looking at that. I was trying to figure out where the article, if it said in the article here. Play occurring in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah,
I'm looking. New Zealand and Norway is at 2 a.m. on Thursday. So by the time we start our show, we'll know a little bit about what's going on. I won't be setting the alarm for this one. Norway is got 75% win probability against New Zealand for that game next week. Things can change. But that's the next big thing that's coming up, right? Besides football camp. Yep. Did you guys watch the Netflix show Quarterbacks with my girl Brittany Mahomes? With Patrick Mahomes.
I have not watched it yet, but I want to. I'm just starting to get into that, and I know I'm probably like a year behind everyone else. But what is that? The Netflix series that they had on golf.
Oh yeah.
What the hell was that called again?
Top
Shot?
Bagger Vance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah. That was actually a pretty good series so far. I watched that when I go give plasma. So but no, I just saw that quarterback series came out, and I was like, oh, maybe I have to start watching that too.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited. One, the Patrick Mahomes of it all, but I actually like Marcus Mariota, and I think he has a chance to still come into his own. And I like Kirk Cousins too. He's actually a local guy. I knew a guy that went to the same church as him up the road. He was a huge Kirk Cousins fan when he was in Washington, and I'm excited to see that type of behind the scenes type stuff. I know there's a lot. They've been on the Chiefs fan pages. They've been talking about Patrick Mahomes' new house, and in these episodes, they buy the house and they're redoing it all and stuff like that.
Is it just those three? Mahomes, Mariota, and okay, Kirk Cousins. See, and I like Cousins when he was in Washington. I just can't cheer for him when he's with the Queens. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear he's a good guy. He seems like a good guy, but it's like, no, you're wearing the wrong colors. So
I do have one question for you guys. I don't know if I can get into it. Do we have a what if question? Because if not, a buddy of mine sent me one today that really got me thinking.
We do.
We could do two. Marco had the one. Yeah.
I got one, and I was going to try something cool with the technology of this to see if I can make this work. And I know sometimes I'm not I'm a caveman when it comes to some things. But then we can do your guys, your what if as well. So let me see if this works, and then we can do yours. So, yeah. So earlier today, I posted this in the main page for Dads with Bacon. If you guys are watching, you're probably watching through Dads with Bacon, or of it. Let's see if I can get here and share my screen and get some sound. So
this was openly discussed. And I knew that the other two referees and I sought out to do a little justice of our own.
The refs quickly called curious fouls on Iverson, including rarely called fouls for palming.
And Iverson still upset about that palming call.
It threw his game off, and his team lost.
According to the game's announcers, even late in the game,
He kept hurting Iverson's team by letting defenders bludgeon him without calling any fouls. Watch.
Tim Donahue will not call a foul when Iverson goes to the basket. About 3 in a row where he got to the basket, got fouled. We thought no call.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at a foul that was let go. Obviously, in the pregame meetings, we came to the conclusion that we were not going to give Allen Iverson any marginal plays to the basket. And that absolutely should have been called a foul that I and the other referees passed on.
Did anyone in the NBA know about it?
There was a group supervisor at the game that came in at half. He had threatened one of our officials, and the NBA fined him $25,000. And we felt as a group that he should have been suspended. And because he wasn't, we felt like we would teach him a lesson.
During that time, you worked an Iverson game January 6, 2007, so you bet against Iverson's team.
Correct.
Because you knew that all the refs were gunning for him. This was openly discussed.
Openly discussed. And I knew that the other two referees and I sought out to do a little justice of our own.
So, my question is, if the refs don't turn on Allen Iverson, do we put him in the conversation with the GOATs? Because he's won multiple scoring titles, but clearly we have evidence that I know we talk about LaFlop and the things that he does. And I know Michael Jordan used to get calls, but here is a dead set conspiracy against Allen Iverson. If he doesn't have that, is he one of the GOATs?
What sport was that again? Sorry,
Basketball.
Honestly, I don't think so. I still don't think so. I don't think so for a couple of reasons. Is that, the referees that were fixing those games were that wasn't like that was a rogue operation between a handful, only like three, four referees. So, if now as to for how many games of his that they actually officiated, hey,
Go up to bed now.
as to how many games they officiated and how many games they had directly affected, I'm not so sure. I still don't think that, again, he doesn't even have a single championship.
Maybe he doesn't have a single championship because the refs were against him. Maybe had some.
The only year he made it, the only year he made it was when he was playing for Philly in the early 2000s. And that even in that championship, what they lose like 4-0, 4-1.
I think he got. I think he took one game.
Or who did they play? The Lakers,
The
maybe.
Lakers, yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I think he definitely had a target on his back. It's proven that they were, fudging the numbers. I think he doesn't get the praise that he should.
No, okay. I think that coming out though is a definite feather in the dude's cap as to what he had to 100% factually play through to have the deck stacked against him intentionally, and for him to still play the way that he played. To me, I definitely, in my opinion, it makes me respect him a lot more for what he did.
Yeah. Alan, you big Aaron, you a big Allen Iverson guy?
I respect his game. And if it would be interesting. I didn't hear everything you guys were talking about, because obviously door opens up down here and the dogs come running around. I'm like, all right, get everyone out of here. Anyway, it would be interesting to find out how many times that actually happened. Was this just a thing where, okay, at this game or two games, or was this something where he kind of had a target on his back for a season? I don't, but
and who's to say it wasn't with other players as well during other games?
True. And that's one of the things that, and if I'm not mistaken, was that the referee that spent a year in prison for
that's Tim Donahue.
Tim Donahue. Okay. this is the problem that I have with basketball in general, especially the NBA, is that like this is the guy that came out and admitted to it and turned in some of his, some of the other reps and that kind of thing. I mean, he was the whistleblower, whatever you want to call him. But even now, watching some of the games, you just wonder at times. Like, I feel like basketball out of any sport is the one that's easiest to do this kind of stuff. And so when you see one game where and you hear the announcers, especially in the playoffs, it's like, oh, they're calling this game tight, or oh, the next game, oh, they just call it the whole damn way, the same way every game. That's as a fan, that's all I want. I want you to call it the same in game 1 of the finals as you would in game 5. I don't really care what quarter it is or anything like that. Allen Iverson, I think, should be considered. I mean, to me, he's one of the best point guards for sure of all time. I guess I don't really know if this makes a difference. I mean, Marco, did you feel before you watched this like he was one of the best of all time, or in the conversation, or not?
He's always one of my favorites. I was, and the way he led teams that didn't have, he wasn't putting together super teams. He didn't have a lot, going for him. This was towards the end of his career too. That was the 06-07 season. He then goes to the Nuggets. His points per game, dropped drastically. That year he was averaging like 31.2 points per game. So imagine the points that he didn't get because he didn't get the foul line and things like that. And I just think it's a great conversation, especially now, because I feel with the way sports is married to sports betting now, the big boogeyman, Pete Rose is out of the Hall of Fame, but the Cincinnati Reds have a deal with DraftKings. Like, what is going on? In the upside down world we live in now. And then I definitely think, referees and umpires influence games more than any other sport, in my opinion. Except for maybe the scripted NFL, but TJ, what was your what if question?
So, all right, I had this written down because I had to think through this at lunch, and then when I got back to the shop, I told my buddy this. I got the answer. So, what if Derek Jeter never went to the Yankees? Would he still be considered one of the best shortstops and won all the accolades he had, which include being a Hall of Famer, Rookie of the Year, 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, 5-time Golden Glover, 5-time Silver Slugger, a World Series MVP, and an All-Star MVP. Now, would he have been that caliber of a player if he went to a different team that was not the Yankees?
So let's go in the Wayback Machine to 1992 draft, where Derek Jeter is the 6th pick by the Yankees as a shortstop. The quick picks before him, Phil Nevin, Paul Shuey, pitcher, went to Cleveland. B.J. Wallace, pitcher, went to Montreal. Jeffrey Hammonds, was an all-star for the Baltimore Orioles. And Chad Motala, Cincinnati Red outfielder. So he was the first infielder picked, besides Phil Nevin at third base. Who else does he go to? Does he go to the Mets, who also picked up a shortstop? And the Mets back then in the 90s, they weren't real good. I don't know. I think he went into a perfect position where he was able to show his leadership, but there's a lot of players on that team that, like, Bernie Williams is an unsung hero and, not a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's a Yankees and they're on murderer's row and they're always spending so much money. I think because he was in that position, he was able to do that. If he goes someplace else, he's still a 302 hitter lifetime or something like that. So he's still a good baseball player, but no, I don't think I always thought Jeter made good plays because he was slow, and if it was somebody else, it'd be a normal play. But because he's slow and he's Derek Jeter, he's got to dive and make it look spectacular. That's my that sounds like a hot take.
For how many Gold Gloves again?
He had 5.
That's a lot. I think that he would still, at minimum, be a borderline Hall of Famer. that there's no way you can take out the individual talent that he had, or inarguably had.
Yeah.
Well,
Not to mention when he was never a power hitter. He was just a consistent dude. He got on base. He was able to generate runs for the team. That's something that And you were how many Silver Sluggers? You said 2 or 3 Silver Sluggers.
5 Silver Sluggers.
5, yeah. So that's the best batting average in the league, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, in all honesty, like that doesn't change. That's going to be them. Even though, again, arguably you have the most financially supported team in the entire, sporting professional sports.
Yeah, I think out of all those, the only ones that obviously the World Series one may have changed because depending on who he went to, he could have gone his whole career without a World Series. I think it definitely helped. I think even getting into the Hall of Fame, it helped him that he was in New York. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of times Hall of Fame can be just as much of a popularity contest as anything else. I mean, granted, you have to have certain numbers. I get that, but there are people in all different sports who aren't in the Hall of Fame that maybe should be in there, but they weren't that popular with the media. The media didn't like them, so they don't vote them in. That kind of thing. And the baseball writers are just. I mean, to me, they're notorious for being just crotchety old men who, are set in their way. I remember watching the sports reporters years ago when it was on with Dick Schaap on ESPN, and there was a guy named I think it was Phil Conlon or something like that. He was a reporter in Philadelphia, and he was always like, I will never vote for a first time, Hall of Fame, a guy on the first time on the ballot because nobody should ever, that was only for Babe Ruth or something. I'm like, oh, shut up. Whatever. It's just people like that to me shouldn't even be allowed to vote. But anyway, I think he's still, I could see Marco's point. I mean, sometimes you're a little bit slower. All of a sudden you make the normal plays look spectacular when they don't have to be. But, I think he probably still is a Hall of Famer.
So I just did a quick look, right? So if he was in the NL, he wouldn't have won the Gold Glove because he would have lost it to Omar Vizquel and Jimmy Rollins, who had .993 fielding percentages or higher.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, and he had and Jeter had .97. So these guys were again getting to the balls that he's not.
.999.
Yeah, .993. Like, no one's winning. Yeah,
99.3%, dude. That's insane.
Yeah. So. I think if he doesn't go to the Yankees, he's not the Derek Jeter that we know and hate.
So, and I will tell you the reason why this conversation came up. So my buddy's a massive sneakerhead. I don't know if you guys are sneakerheads as well. Jeter has his own shoe with Jordan called the Captain. It's a Jordan 11, and they're highly, highly sought after. My buddy's down in Miami. There is a sneaker con going on right now, and he just picked up 2 pairs of Jeter's Jordan 11s for $2,000 a piece. Oh, it gets better. He got them signed by Derek Jeter, and he flipped them for $20,000 a piece.
Wait, how much did he buy them for?
He bought them for $2,000 a piece.
Okay.
So $4K for 2 pairs.
$4K for 2 pairs.
But got him autographed and
he got
authenticated.
Because Jeter was there, got him autographed, and he flipped them because he also got the autograph authenticated and everything. Flipped them for $20,000 a pair
each. Holy crap. That's crazy.
And he asked
I don't love Patrick Mahomes enough to spend that kind of money, even if I did. Like, if I had that kind of money, I'd find my way to like hang out with Patrick Mahomes, not like buy his shoes, but whatever.
But that's where the question came up. He's like, if he never was this popular, those shoes would not sell.
Okay, the only question I have about that story is that did he know that he was going to be able to get those signed by Jeter at the time of his purchase?
Not at all.
Dang.
That's cool.
Not at all. And here's the crazy part about it too is like the sneaker con is at the Miami Convention Center.
Right.
And then down the road, there was a sports convention, I guess, with like trading cards, all the memorabilia you could find. and they had autograph sessions. Well, he texted me because Roger Clemens is there. Being an Astros fan, I always wanted his autograph, so he got me that. And he goes, dude, you will not believe what I did. And he told me this. And he's like, Derek Jeter is here. He's signing autographs. I just got his shoes signed and then flipped them for $20,000. And I was like, nuh-uh. And he goes, I swear, dude. I said, I got to see
That's crazy.
pictures. Send me pictures.
Wow. Nice.
All right, fellas.
All right. So what do we got? We got anything big going on this weekend or not?
Actually, yeah, I'm getting out of town again, getting back to the lake for a few days.
When do you start back in school?
Dude, way too freaking soon. Dude, I gotta go back on Monday, July 24th. So I got a week and a half left. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, we're going to my aunt and uncle usually throw like a big lake party at their place. Hoping that the rain stays away. Kind of forecast is looking a little blah. So. Yeah. But otherwise, either way, that if it rains, I'm just gonna sit in the pavilion and just get drunk all day. So it's one way or another, it's gonna be a great day. minus children.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, that's always makes it a little bit different there. So, yeah. Well, I was supposed to be going to the Bahamas this weekend. And
you're not?
No, because my passport didn't arrive in time. So my entire team that's doing this project with me, looking at buying this property or whatever, they're all going to be there. So I'm sure I'll be talking to them on Sunday night to discuss, because all their meetings are on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that, and they'll be able to tell me how much fun that they're having and how amazing the Atlantis Resort is. And yeah,
you just need a passport to get back in. You should go and then just deal with it when you got to come back.
No, you don't need one to get there.
I don't know. I don't know how passports. I don't know how passports. Don't listen to me.
Need to go. You need to have it to even enter the country, because you have to go through customs.
Yeah. So
don't listen to me.
TJ, what about you?
Actually, let's see. Tomorrow, I am doing a event at the local game store here. They're having a Forza Horizon 5 Racing League night.
Oh, nice.
So a couple buddies of mine, we pitched in some money and we wanted to do it. So we're going to do that. And then Saturday, I'm having a luau because my best friend's cousin just got accepted into the University of Hawaii. So we're going to see show him what a traditional luau looks like. So we're going to do barbacoa. We're going to do everything.
Cool.
Nice.
We're going to have kind of like a chill weekend. And then Sunday, I'm going to the O's Marlins game.
Nice.
Wow. It's a packed weekend. How about you, Marco?
Nothing really on schedule. I think we're shipping one of our kids back to Michigan because he had so much fun and he wants to go do that with his uncle and aunt. And then if weather pending, I got a kayak that I haven't put in the water yet this summer, so I want to throw that into the mighty Des Plaines River and see how that goes. But we'll see what the weather says.
Nice. All right. Well, why don't we get off the air here, and I gotta go deal with kids that aren't listening to their mother right now. So that's always fun. And she's got a bad back, so she's crabby as hell right now. So it's good times.
All right, fellas.
All right, guys. Yep.
Right.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you all next week, where we'll talk about some more NFL and maybe give a little bit more of a preview of the Women's World Cup.
Right on.
Everyone.
All right, guys.